Alright guys, welcome back. So I have this swirling effect, but it's probably needs some refining. The first thing I don't like about it is it's too big, right? It's really kind of like hard to read my original model shape anymore. So I'm gonna go change the pop at back here and say parameters here, the velocity scale can be something lower, like 1, and that's gonna allow it to really get tighter. Let me play blasted. As you can see, it's much tighter now. I can really see the contour of my model. One more thing I'm having trouble with is that those dots flying away. Now that's really disturbing. I think maybe that's something that mathematically they're saving performance, so something is not calculating in a pretty accurate way, so it's really bad. And oftentimes I see this, I call this a software development inefficiency. They're not doing a good job. But there's a way to fix it though. Grab this guy here and change the velocity update, the action method to trace here, right? That's gonna allow the calculation to trace more particles down the way instead of just one single particle. And basically that trace will help you to really trying to see like more particles down the way and really follow that trace, so that it's not gonna really having like abrupt changes, basically blurring things out. As you can see here now, if I simulate it again with that setting on, you can see I'm basically not having anything going out anymore, right? So it's much more cleaner. Okay, and another setting here down the CFL condition, right? This is basically how uses the when it's tracing the particles. This controls like how many voxels will be stepped in a single iteration, right? More voxels stepped in means like much accurate results, so that the higher value will be causing like faster tracing, but also more arrows. So lower that down if you wanted to have better results. So let me simulate again. As you can see, not that much different, but it could help. Anyway, one thing you probably don't want to turn on is that velocity update. If you change that to final velocity, it will try to update the velocity, and the velocity will be added together and tilting things around. It may cause more trouble, and we can calculate velocity later on using the trail thing, right? It's not really, I don't think it's that necessary, because you can always just trace it afterwards. As you can see, I have more dots popping up because of that velocity calculation. So let's say no change. As you can see, the velocity here basically will be all 0 no matter how the geometry changes. Actually V is the velocity. Okay, it's all 0 even on other frames. Cool. So I'm gonna go back and do some more changing to the attribute of this noise I'm using here. Okay, now one thing I can change is the frequency. I can lower that down to maybe 0.5. This is gonna give me like bigger shapes, basically. Not 0.5. And time change, I can change that maybe to 5, so it's like moving faster. Amplitude is how strong it is. I don't really want to change that. Roughness is how rough it is. More roughness will cause more swirling around it. Now you can see those really chunky results here in the middle. The reason being is because we don't really care about the inside. We were doing this sign distance field. If you change the interior bias also to 1, it's going to trace inside of the model too, or go deeper. The value will go deeper, and that will smooth out that. Okay. And also here on the attenuation is basically making it weaker, or I think it's fall off or something. Right, I don't really change that thing. the step size will be how detailed the curves are. Smaller value will give me smoother and more accurate curve. So you can maybe make it 10 times smaller. Surface effect radius will be how far the model will affect the flow, the curve noise. A value higher than 1 will not cause any good because we only have that much distance calculated outside of the model. So if you want to go further than 1, you also need to change this guy higher than 1, and probably also the volume higher than 1 because the volume is just that big. Okay, so all those numbers should be updated together. If you wanted to, you can use relative channel to control them all together. Don't really want to change that either here. Just keep it as 1. Okay, so what I do change is roughness, maybe a little bit more turbulence, so that it has more variations on the edge. And that's about it. So let's take a look. So now if I do the simulation and cache it, as you can see, I'm having more dynamic movement inside of it on the edge, as you can see. Alright, cool. So in order to see it better, I can go back to the burst and maybe burst 10 times more particles, and also left expectancy to something lower like 0.5 and 0.3, so they're not living super long. Let's take a look at one more time and make sure that you're happy with the results you're getting. It's pretty fast with particle simulation, even with a lot of particles, right? So they're moving. I think I like a lot of the dynamic result I'm getting on the edge and other parts. Right, so let's say this is good, right? I'm gonna stop it. I need to cache it to the disk. To cache it, you can go down from the top network and let's say maybe a file cache. And in the file cache, you basically don't need to change anything. Just go click on the save to disk. But if you wanted to be specifically telling it to save it in the project folder, you can change HIP to job. Right, that's going to save it to the project folder, and also that's the naming you want to use. So you can say particles, and the operator string, which is what this is, you can probably get rid of that. So let's call this particle sim. That's the frame number, and those are the file extension. Okay, and you're gonna click on the save disk to allow it to start caching it. They already cached one, I guess you just read it and it just going through the rest of the animation. So I will wait for it to finish and come back later.